Salutations, I'm StereoLotus77, and today we've got a new type of video for you guys. So we've got a build review. No, I'm not doing the clap, no matter how many times you freaking ask. So we're going to be going over somebody else's build today, not my own. We're going to be reviewing a build. How this is going to work is... Well, for the video itself, how this is going to work is there's going to be 3 different categories that I'm going to be focusing on. The enjoyment that I get out of playing the build, the power of the build, like how strong it is versus bosses versus ads, and then the skill level needed to play the build. Can I just sit here and brain dead my way through the character, or do I actually have to be meticulous about dodging projectiles or something? Or like having to aim for crits or whatnot, or focus on using specific mechanics that are not easy to understand. That kind of thing. And so today, this build is from Average Zeus. Link gonna be in the description to his channel. And I hang out in his Discord a lot and in his Twitch streams. And I love watching some of his videos. I recommend going and checking him out. He makes some awesome content. So this is his Inzane in the Membrane Zane build, where he in his title claimed it was a god build. So we're here to put that to the test. Before I take a look at the skill tree, I'm going to, well, I'll show off the skill tree right here. I'll show you guys right away, but I'm not gonna actually break down the skill tree until the end because I want to get a feel for the build before I start criticizing stuff. Also, I went through and I looked through the items that were on the character, and I picked out ones that I enjoy using to start with. Actually, let's swap that right now. Yeah, let's do that. I mean, like my thing about this kind of stuff, if a weapon like a Sandhawk is required, then it's not a strong build. So we'll see what happens. I feel like this is a good balance of how difficult the enemies could be for different weapon types on this build. Yeah, let's hop into the actual gameplay here, and then I'll do the breakdown at the end. So let's open up with this Herald. Clone will probably down himself, but oh well. Ooh. Okay, that's not that bad. That's not that bad at all. I did see there was like nothing in purple tree, so ADSing isn't going to help very much. Alright, let's swap to this item here. The Butcher. Okay. Alright, let's give Clone the Butcher and see what he can do with it. Okay. He can do things. I like it. Being able to work alongside your clone, those are always my favorite kind of clone builds. I personally don't like having to rely on clone for 100% of my damage. The part that I am slightly worried about with the DPS that's being output on these ads is how much damage is going to be required for bossing. I don't know if this build has the capability for you to do the bossing. Let's find out. Maybe. It didn't like one burst Kraken, but I also didn't exactly give it a good lineup for it either. I don't know. We'll find out when we hit a boss here. The Valks. Alright, I don't remember what clone has, so we're just gonna pop him. Okay, there we go. Let's... Yeah, I feel like this is another good spot to see, like, bossing damage here. With the Butcher, maybe. Okay, let's maybe not use that. I guess we should swap to this. And maybe switch this out with... Let's do a Soul Render. Maybe we should do Radiation Soul Render with a Corrosive Light Show. Okay, I love it. The Chaos Synth's one of my favorite weapons. It's a really nice SMG. It feels really good. Oh, whoops! I didn't mean to hand him that. It's gonna absolutely. Okay, there we go. Now it did seem like there were just a lot of meta tier weapons on the build, so it is kind of difficult to see the different skill level requirements on the lower end. But for the most part, you don't really need to focus too hard to play this. And when it comes to bossing, you're not that far away from clone when you're using a light show. Let's try this Soul Render out. Actually, let's just warp him down here. There we go. That definitely was not the Soul Render. 100% was not. Okay, let's try another weapon. Let's try the Hell Shock. No, I will not be touching that Free Radical. Free Radical is the worst thing that has ever existed in this video game. I don't care how good the item is, it literally is just a ripoff of this item that I'm using right now. I mean, I was using it against a freaking armored boss. Let's try it against you with the shock. Okay, that's quite a bit of damage there, and that's the rest of Valk's dead. Okay, next. Clone killed off the last Valk. That's beautiful. Actually, I'm curious how well Clone does with this weapon on here. God dang it. Hey, you over here. Where's the last guy at? Oh, we're gonna do that. And that. Okay. What's another item to try out here? A sickle. It's not a boom sickle, so you're not really getting explosive damage modifiers. You're kind of just getting the cryo. Oh, I remember this item was on here when I first loaded it up. Let's try the Breath of the Dying out. Although it may be specifically for Wotan. That may be why it's here, because the Wotan mechanic. Okay. I really like the Mantis Cannon hook, because that mechanic is super fun. The reason why I don't use it in my videos is because it takes away from the weapon itself, having to shoot things with the cannon, especially with the amount of shock damage that I tend to put into builds. The cannon kind of just obliterates things. All right, let's see how you do with that. What the? Okay. I feel like there are definitely some items I would add to this build. So Kibsworth is typically really good for Unifier. I wouldn't give it to Clone, but it would be something to swap to after you place down Clone. A couple other items I would think of be something like some sort of second wind launcher. It's not having a rocket launcher in here for second winds is kind of spooky. Okay, we're gonna have to try this item. Against what? I don't know, but we're definitely gonna have to try it. I may swap to a different area to try it, but we definitely need to try the grease trap here. It's like clone grease trap setups are so much fun. Well, I guess we don't need to try it. It's just something that I want to do. Everybody knows it's gonna work out really well. It doesn't matter how good your build is. The grease trap on Zane with clone just absolutely obliterates things. I am still in the habit of not hitting things with my cannon. Revolter, so don't need to worry about that. We can shoot you. He did give a warning about clone, how it will disorient people. I can see that. Although getting over that is kind of something that you get out of experience. So if that does actually become a problem in the gameplay, then that goes into that skill part, but the skill level for it. And with how the rating is gonna work, I'm rating it out of 10 in the sense that it fits my skill level. So like it's enjoyable at my skill level, not just a fun overall build. Alright, let's see here. Let's try this Atlas replay. I've been looking at it a little bit. I kind of want to try it out. I love it how I keep on going back to using the caves. Like I'm supposed to be trying out weapons here, and I'm over here just doing nonsense with the chaos, and I don't ever use this Atlas replay. I don't ever use it. This is one of those items I just don't use. What are y'all's thoughts on it? Whoa, okay. There we go. Yeah, I honestly don't really think it fits with the build. I mean, I guess those weren't really the best enemies to test it against, but it just doesn't feel like it meshes well with the rest of the build. Let's try the Ember's Purge, and let's grab the Needle Gun. Just with how the build works, I know the Sandhawk is gonna be really good, so I'm trying out other things first. Theoretically, the Ember's Purge should do pretty well, but if this build doesn't spec to the way that I think it is, then it won't. Okay, well, it did a thing. Wait, does this have clone ammo regen? It does. That's so whack. I'm not used to this at all. I'm used to being able to chuck my needle gun. I don't know. I feel like it's just not dealing the DPS that I think of a needle gun for. Huh. You know, this doesn't exactly work here. That's interesting. Alright, let's try the soul render for bossing. Oh, alright, hold up. Do I still have the Breath of Dying on me? I do. Okay. There we go. I had to show that off. So what happens there was the Breath of the Dying nukes the bottom half through its special mechanic of it producing corrosive balls on death. And when you shoot bottom half after the shield is broken, it counts as if they are already dead, and so they constantly proc that post-mortem effect, causing insane damage, especially with Eraser. Is crazy. Okay, we're going to come up here, swap. And there we go. That's a takedown confirmed. You know, this is a pretty good for if you utilize your weapons in ways that they are intended to be, then you can use off the wall weapons that are not usually of interest. But my thing about this is you have to have a pretty high skill level to use those kinds of weapons on here. Which, don't get me wrong, that's not a bad thing. It's normal for that. This build, when it comes to utilizing the top end weapons, is really good. I very much enjoyed using the top end weapons, like the Light Show, the Herald, the Soul Render. The Butcher was super fun, despite it not being, like, the strongest item here. It was super fun. The main powerhouse is the Sandhawk. Like, bossing-wise, Sandhawk is just the best item here. Honestly, I had the most fun with the Chaosin, which, I mean, this weapon's really good. It does stickies, which stickies are always... No matter what you're running, stickies are typically really good. But I think my loadout for this would probably be like this. Be like that. Yeah, I'd probably run this. If I'm not running this, I'm using a Sandhawk in this 4th slot to clean up all of, like, the flying bigger enemies. Alright, so let's actually take a look at the items that are on here. So, splash, action skill damage, mag size. That makes sense. So a couple videos ago, I made the comment that Donnybrook is overrated, like I do in every single gun-based Zane build that I'd post. So the key thing to Donnybrook is it's really good if you're running a clone build. If you're not running a clone build, it's nowhere near as good. I'll get back into that later. But with this setup, I very much like the point distribution of this comm. You have action skill damage. You have a couple points in Donnybrook to make sure you're not missing out, and then you also have points in the other two skills that makes the build more balanced, so that you can use different weapons and be able to partake in the actual combat yourself instead of needing or relying upon clone to deal all of your big damage. Snowdrift Victory Rush. Yeah, I mean, action skill cooldown rate, AoE, mag size, makes sense. Everything there makes sense. I mean, mag size I could see switched out with something else like shock damage, seeing as you're running a Revolter. But other than that, it's top tier. It's a top tier artifact. I wouldn't say it's a god roll, but it's definitely up there. A Hex. So that was interesting. Utilizing the grenade to cause that radiation dot instead of needing to use a radiation weapon, it's super fun to do that kind of playstyle. That way you don't have to use that lower damaged radiation herald. You could get a fire or a shock herald or something, another element, or even a cryo herald where you're getting that super heightened damage without... So that way you're not getting that radiation damage debuff, because radiation reduces the overall damage of the gun. And that applies to all of them. So you can tell here that 2k difference, or 1.8k difference, whatever, 2k difference between these two. And then the frost one is just super high up there. I can't really comment on this weapon because I just didn't really feel like it played very well with this setup. This weapon, I might have to do my own deep dive into this item. Not because this is bad. It's a good item. It's just not really what I look for out of a weapon when I'm trying to enjoy my gameplay here. But yeah, the build overall, super fun. Let's see, what's the other... So, a plus ultra? Yeah, I'm mostly interested in this item because the Revolter is DLC 6 Director's Cut, whatever, Director or Designer's Cut exclusive. The one that's not Arms Race. It's one of the furthest out DLC requirements. So having something like a Plus Ultra, which is from a more modern, not more modern, but a closer to base game item. It's still DLC, but it's DLC 4 instead of DLC 6. So more people are likely to have the shield. And even then, if you're not running this, a Band of Sidorak is typically pretty good. If you're not running that, then a stopgap. Stopgap's gonna fix that problem too. Of a shield. Now, all these other comms on here, fire rate, weapon damage, mag size. I'm gonna pause it. I'm pausing the music. Sorry, yell at me. I need to read and comment here. So, the one that's equipped is just better. Yeah. Out of all these, I feel like... So I feel like the Hustler wasn't used simply because they just didn't have the good rolls. But the Hustler would do pretty well on this build. I personally wouldn't use it here because it would change the dynamic of the build entirely. But it would, looking at the damage value, it would be a better item to run. The Executor, good base game alternative, but for what's going on here, you're wanting that Seeing Dead for that Donnybrook and for that kill skill effectiveness. You're not really needing Good Misfortune, and you're not really needing those passives. You want more of that action skill damage so the clone does this thing for bossing. Okay, so let's actually break down these skill trees here. So, violent momentum, violent speed, cool hand, salvation, playing dirty, violent violence, good misfortune. Actually, let's unequip this. 3 and 2. 3 and 2. And I guess the intent was to have this calm. So you get 4 and 4. But if you're not running that calm, based on the weapons that were being ran, I would recommend running more violent violence than playing dirty, because playing dirty is just an extra projectile on that shot. So it's not really helping any of the weapons here. It would sometimes be helping a weapon like a Kaiosen, but because of how fast they fire, it doesn't help at all. Because it's per 5 shots. It's not per every shot. So it's not very helpful here. Yeah, you're better off going more violent violence than you are putting points into playing dirty. Clone. What? I get it, but I'm also just like, which one's real is so much. It's really helpful. Also, wait, why no pocket full of nades? What? Hold up. Yeah, you still run out of grenades, so why no pocket full of nades? I would think this would be a really good skill to have at least 1 point in. Having at least 1 point, this is how you sustain your build for long-winded runs like Guardian Takedown. Without this skill, I wouldn't want to take this through Guardian Takedown, just simply because I'd run out of grenades, meaning I'd run out of Boom Enhance, which is a really nice skill for Clone, as it's buffing his damage and survivability by a lot, as well as increasing his duration. I don't really have many other complaints over here. Yeah, I would take this point from Like a Ghost and put it into Pocket Full of Nades. That'd be the main alteration I do to this tree. I guess, yeah, between the augment, because you have Quick Breather, but between the augment change and the grenade skill here, that would be my primary thing to focus on, is either having another way of regenerating grenades or having Pocket Full of Nades instead of Like a Ghost. Now, to Donnybrook. So, Donnybrook, this skill, it gives you upwards of 90% increased gun damage. Now, when you think about this, like 90% gun damage, that's a lot of gun damage. Why is this skill overrated? That's really strong. Well, Violent Momentum is just better by minimum 2 times that better. You're getting upwards of you're getting like 200%, and then depending on what other items you have on you, a lot more than 200%. You can get upwards of thousands of percentile increase in gun damage from that skill. While Donnybrook, you're only getting 90%. And so Donnybrook isn't a necessity. It's only adding to that other gun damage that you're getting. So for you, the player, not for Clone, for you, the player, this skill is definitely overrated. I'm not saying it's bad. It's not bad. It's still a decent skill. It has health regen, and the gun damage itself, if you're not running movement speed, it's still good. Let's say if movement speed isn't your focus, it's still a good skill. It's just way overhyped, because I see everybody's like 5 in Donnybrook on your Seeing Dead class mod. Not really. I honestly prefer having more of that 2-3 or 3-2 or 3 other points into Donnybrook. It gives it a little bit more balance, allowing you, the player, to be able to do more stuff on your Clone build. Because Clone, no matter what, no matter how many points you're putting in the skill, Clone is gonna kill everything. You don't need it. It's just really good bonuses. Nothing in Green Tree, which kind of saddens me, but that's expected. Wait, why? Why? Okay, I'm gonna pull up his video. Oh, okay. So, I get it. This is really good for console players. Or, like, controller players. I wouldn't use it as, seeing as I play keyboard and mouse, I'm on computer. I wouldn't grab this. It's not helpful for me at all. But for players on console, I can understand that handling is really nice. The accuracy itself doesn't really help you at all. But the handling is really nice. Although, at this point, you're getting 10 stacks. Activating an action skill. You're getting 10 stacks. You're just going to have 10 stacks. So, instead of having 5 points here, 2 points here, and then 3 points in health regen through critical hit like Renegade, or if you're using items like that needle gun that want more projectiles, instead of having to have that... instead of having to have the ammo regen from Clone, which is really nice. It's way better than this, but you can have Deja Vu, in which now you have points that are actually able to get you down to skills like Commitment, Headsman's Hand, instead of just shoving everything into accuracy or handling. You're getting a higher net positive to your build, instead of just dunking points into nothing. So, Commitment, really good cooldown rate, gun damage. It's overrated in the sense that it's nowhere near as good as it used to be, and it is still overhyped. It's good, but it's just not... It's not the best skill. It is nowhere near as good as Headsman's Hand, with that 23% increased critical hit damage, which doubles. So, 46% critical hit damage off of activating your action skill twice. It's really nice. Art of War. Oh, good lord. So, the problem with this skill, especially on this build, is this only applies to the next shot. So, this actually is not helping you whatsoever. Unless you're spamming cannon and you are constantly running out of cannon with this build. Unless you're spamming it and hitting enemies, you're not using it. You don't have weapons to use it with. You have a whole bunch of fast firing weapons that are going to chew through your ammo. It's only helpful when you're running your Hellwalker or your Complex Root, which Complex Root I'm not going to run here. And I tried looking at the Hellwalker before recording, and it just didn't do what I wanted it to. So I didn't use it. Domino effect is really nice, especially for this build. You're getting that reload speed, which you definitely need. You definitely need when you're reloading constantly with super high fire rate weapons. And fire rate, you're increasing your fire rate with high fire rate weapons. Big whoop-de-doo, you're chewing through ammo. Eraser, you don't need 3 points with this build. You only need 1. But having 3 points is cool, I guess. Honestly, I probably would have put 1 point here, and then the other 2 points in Sheer Will, or 1 point in Sheer Will, 1 point in Fugitive. Because I like this for being able to sprint and shoot, so that way you're capitalizing more about momentum. But Sheer Will, giving you more cooldown, so you're never running out of Mantis Cannon. Like, there's already a lot of other cooldown stuff on here, but it's still running out. And then, yeah, Sheer Will. Domino Effect is... I would probably replace Art of War with Domino Effect to increase the setup. But, yeah. I very much enjoyed it. It was a very fun build. No Way Out. This skill is so much fun. I love it. It's so much fun. My only problem is the cooldown, which is the other reason as to why the cooldown was having troubles with this build. And that's why Sheer Will definitely help fix that problem. And then I thought there was another skill that I was looking at. No, yeah, it was just sheer will. Okay. Yeah, sheer will. Definitely that would fix a lot of things here. So my question here, how many points? 4? Okay. And this is 2. Yeah. Okay, I can see why neither of those were grabbed. Yeah, there's just so many points invested in this tree, and it took away from being able to have other really good capstones. Yeah, overall, this is really fun to play. It's a decently strong build. You yourself are able to be competitive with your clone for DPS, and then when you're bossing, you hand him that Sandhawk, and he's going to nuke that boss. Or you can shoot that Sandhawk, and you're gonna deal good damage against that boss. It's super fun, and the skill level required, unless you're using stupid items like I do a lot, it's not that hard to play. It's pretty easy to play, especially if you're running that really nice See and Dead that can keep your kill skills active and keep constantly activating and giving you cooldown. It's really nice. Beautiful build. So I forgot. Hold up. I forgot to mention the anointments. Don't run consecutive hits on Zane. Please don't do that. It's additive to violent momentum, so it's not giving you bonus damage. It's not. I swear to you, it's not helping you. It's 100%. It caps at 100%. 100% increased damage after it's fully stacked up. You may be constantly at that 100%, but with how fast you're moving, you are getting all of the damage you need in that specific stat block. You're getting all the damage you need. You don't need consecutive hits. What you can run there instead is some sort of extra element, so you're getting Harmageddon bonuses. Or you can run stuff like Action Skill and Splash for splash weapons, or Barrier Crit if you're running Barrier, which I don't know why you'd run Barrier here, I guess. But clone regen on that other item was really nice with the needle gun. Clone regen right here. Let's take a look. Is there anything else that doesn't have contact hits on it? No. Yeah. Mantis Cannon. This is just a higher stat number. I mean, it only buffs shoulder cannon, but it's just a higher stat number. Like, contact hits isn't helping you much. You're better off if you're running splash. Use Action Skill and Splash. Action Skill and Extra Elements is probably the best anointment. If you're not running either of those, another substitute is the Action Skill and Clone damage plus, I think it's 100%. So at that point, you have 100% guarantee because you're always having Clone out instead of 100% sometimes when you're using Contact Hits. Contact Hits would be nice on a second wind weapon if you're using a high fire rate weapon for a second wind weapon, like a light show. If you want to use a light show for a second wind weapon, then go ahead and put Contact Hits on it. Sure, that's fine. Much enjoy it. I wouldn't say it's a god build with the weapons that are on here, but again, this is a really, really good build. What other grenades are here? Fish Slap, Hunter Seeker, Beanade. Yeah. No, the Hex is definitely the best option, especially if you're not running radiation weapons. But yeah, I very much enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed. Go check out Average Zeus. Go give him a subscription and check out his videos. They are amazing. And goodbye.